Topics for this video include exporting a CT scan to a CD-DVD, your desktop or USB drive, opening a CBCT scan from a disk or drive, and exporting a CBCT to send to a lab. To export a CBCT to a disk or your local computer, first open the scan within Ez3D-i. To export our scan from our Ez3D-i software, there are two ways to do this. We can click on Main Menu, Export, or click on the export icon on the main toolbar in the software to begin the export. Under the Save Type options, you can either save the scan directly to a CD or DVD or download the files to your local computer. For example, if you want to copy your files to a USB thumb drive, select Local Disk, download to your computer, and then copy the files onto that USB drive. In this example, we are going to download the files to our local computer, so I'll leave the Local Disk option selected. Under the compression option, you may select compress to zip file if you plan on sending the files through a third-party service such as Dropbox or WeTransfer. Under this, you may set a password for the files if desired as well. Under the Check to Export section, you can select the project file option if you want the receiver of these files to see any changes you have made to the scan. Make sure you select Viewer box under this if you want the viewing software included on the export, to ensure the party receiving these files can view the scan directly from the CD or USB drive. Lastly, under Anonymize Patient Information, select Enable if you do not want the patient's name displayed on your export when you open the scan. Next, I'm going to simply click Save. I am saving these files on my desktop. I have created an export folder on the desktop, and I'll simply hit Select Folder, and those files will export. Next, I'm going to navigate to my desktop where I've created my export folder. Inside these files here, we're going to have a main folder, and there's going to be a bunch of files here. Just a couple things to notate. The CT folder is where all the DICOM files are stored. If you need to pull those off separately, that's where they're located. Additionally, to open the scan now from the viewing software, we're going to click on Simple Viewer Launcher, and that's going to pull up a splash screen, and we have two options here: Simple Viewer and Simple Viewer Lite. Simple Viewer is basically a copy of Ez3D-i, the most current version of our software, which you can run directly from the CD or USB. The Simple Viewer Lite option can be used if you're trying to open the scan on a computer that may be running an earlier version graphics card. Next, we'll take a look at these two options. First, we'll click on Simple Viewer, and it will prompt us to install a read-only version of our Ez3D-i software. And we can install it, and it's basically a carbon copy of the Ez3D-i software with the exclusion of the capture button window and the export button, which is why they're grayed out here. But besides that, you have the full functionality of the software. And let me go back now to my export folder, open my folder, select Simple Viewer Launcher, and the second option is going to be the Simple Viewer Lite option. And we can click on that. It will prompt us to install the software, and then it will simply open up in Ez3D Plus, which is basically an earlier version of our software as an alternative. To export just your DICOM files, for instance, when sending to a lab, typically they only will require the DICOM files. From Ez3D-i, all we have to do is pull up our patient, right-click on the scan we want to export, and select Export. From there, our export box options are: you can save to local disk, the local computer, or CD-DVD. Also on the bottom, we can compress to a zip file, making it easier to send and upload. And I am going to go ahead and navigate to my export folder and save it directly to that folder. Very quick and simple. Once that's done, I will go ahead and navigate back to my export folder. We can see that there's one file in there. It is zipped, and if we open that file, we can see that only the DICOMs are inside this